And this is something which you have to consider, is that don't even defer paying your dues, whether it is your credit card dues or tax dues or any mandatory payment. You have borrowed loan from your relatives, please pay first. You have to have your liability to the minimum, otherwise the liability will eat you. You have to eat the liability, and the liability should not eat you. Plan for essential vital expenses. So somebody, I think, said improper investment, improper spending. When we talk about where the money goes, I think that is right. You have to have a proper understanding what is your essential expenditure, and your fee to the business institution, your college is vital. Correct? You're spending on costly electronic gadget, it's not vital. So you have to differentiate between what is your essential expenditure, what is not your essential expenditure. That makes a hell of a lot of difference. Please practice when you're young, and that will help you to the end. I think everybody would have known about Sundar Pichai. Till now, he is having a very, very, very simple life, even after reaching. Bill Gates is having a very simple life. Warren Buffett is one of my inspiring person. He is somebody who is absolutely simple. He's the world's second richest person, second wealthier person. So avoid taking personal loans. That's the most costliest loan in the market. Please avoid taking personal loans. All right. Avoid buying unrequired things like garment. See, we Indians have a very I like to talk on this particular point. We Indians have a very I don't say it is silly, but have a very unique practice. Friend's wedding, cousin brother's wedding, or somebody going for a vacation, what we always think is buy new clothes. Correct? Everybody agrees on that. So it will be
20 people have replied yes, sir.
Okay. It will be a distant relative who you would not even known much before getting that invitation. Right? Before the bridegroom buys new clothes, new garments, we'll be buying new clothes. Okay. Go for a vacation, go for a photo shoot. The best thing which you do is go to a shop or Big Bazaar or any closer by garment shop, buy new clothes. I was also a person like that. Right? If you open the wardrobe, if you understand, analyze your wardrobe alone, I think hardly 10% or 20% of the clothes you will be wearing on a regular basis. The rest all would be in archived mode. Right? Hardly you would have touched it. I'm not saying that you should never buy it. You should never buy a silk saree or a suit or something. Right? You have to buy it, but make sure that you buy it, you use it. If you don't use it, don't buy it. Right? And you go to a vacation, you buy new clothes. Just because you want to seriously be very presentable, you think that it has to be new. That's a reason where you can take good photographs. That's not the correct thing. I'll tell you, I've been working with a lot of foreigners, right? And in fact, I have a few expats in my own company who is staying in Chennai, right? They have only hardly 5 to 10 sets of clothes. They buy good quality, they use it, they throw it off. Beyond that, they don't buy it. The purpose of you dressing is to, whenever you go to a wedding or you have to, or a vacation or to office, the objective is to become a very presentable person, and you have to neatly dress. It doesn't mean that you have to buy a new clothes, right? So if you have a good cloth, if you have a good garment, make sure that you maintain it properly. You put things on correct shape and size, and make sure that you fit inside the particular cloth. And a lot of people today, youngsters, get into an obesity. So you have to buy clothes and you have to fit inside the cloth. It also takes care of your health. So obese is something which have to be stopped. And you need to measure your obeys by putting a cloth which you have bought some 5 years back or 3 years back. Make sure that you fit in, right? So if you don't fit in, then you have to correct yourself, not buy new clothes. Correct? And everybody, I think, knows what is recurring deposit. Please open RD, and I'm a big fan of RD, recurring deposit. And the simplest is you have private banks. If you have internet banking, you can open RD in internet banking itself. You need not visit branch. You need not visit bank to open RD. For example, you have the fee next year to be paid. Start saving from now. So you have 2 years of fee payment. Whatever amount, don't compare others. Just say 1,000 rupees per month or 500 rupees per month. End of the year, it will be 6,000 or 12,000. End of 2 years, it will be 24,000. So you have to plan accordingly, open RD, so that when you need money, when you want to pay your liability, when you want to pay the fee or any other expenditure, so if you foresee an expenditure after 2 years, any regular expenditure after 2 years, you start saving from now, put it in RD. End of the RD period, you'll have a certain expenditure which you can use it. You need not run around, borrow money from your relatives, borrow money from bank, or avail a personal loan. You need not do all these things. The money will be in your place, and you can honor those expenditure. And any surplus, and I think you guys need to talk to your parents. If they have 5,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, open an FD for 1 year, 2 years, respective of the period, whatever good period you think, and keep it safe. It'll multiply, and everybody would know a power of compounding interest. I'll touch upon that at the end of the session. So power of compounding is a very useful tool for you to multiply money. And way to invest: gold. Again, I'm saying don't buy ornamental gold, buy paper gold, which is available in market. Keep it for 5 years or 10 years. You can build wealth, or you can become richer only if you put it on a longer period. There is no short-term gain. It's not a film where you sow seed today, next time it will be a big tree and it will fetch fruit. No, it has to be minimum period of 5 years or 10 years. That's where the money will grow, money will multiply. So you can invest in land, you can invest in shares, but shares is a very riskier proposition. You have to understand, you have to have a very deep understanding on the market and then invest. It's a good investment, but you have to look at 5 years or 10 years period. And the last but very important point here is, don't even compare with anybody. Don't compare with your brothers, don't compare with your sister, don't compare with your neighbor. Your money, your wealth, your growth has to be with you only. Don't even compare. Your comparison should be with you only. The life what you had 5 years before, 10 years before, what is that life you're going to have? How is that you're going to plan for another 10 years or 5 years or 15 years? Longer the plan, better you have the control. Okay, and the power of compounding is, I request everybody to seriously browse through internet. It's a wonderful topic. It's like, if you invest 100 rupees today, tomorrow it's going to be 110 if the rate of interest is 10%. And you have to invest this 110 again for a year or 5 years. So this will multiply, so that end of the day, you will be able to earn money on income plus the income's income. So it's very important for you to compound. And if you want to compound and become wealthier, you have to look for a long-term perspective, not a short-term perspective. So I leave the session for, I stop the presentation and I leave the session for question answer session if somebody has got it. And again, I like to thank the management, your chairman Kadir, Dr. Parkavi, and Ranjit for an opportunity to interact and have a session with you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Whatever the information which you have shared, it's going to personally help me a lot about investments and all those areas. Because I had a very, very different view on the terms of investments, and especially on the terms of gold. But now I've got a very, very different view. So thank you so much for your guidance and your leadership words, sir. So we can get into the question answer session. Guys, you can shoot your questions in the chat box, and I'll ask on behalf of you, and I'll get the answers for you. So first question is from Mohammed Adil, sir. Sir, do Bitcoin is good for us or it is bad for us? Bitcoin.
Okay. I'm sorry, I haven't told the grounds rule for this particular session. I stay away from answering on a particular product or a particular means of investment because it may differ from one person to another person. So
Sure.
I'm not competent to recommend on a particular product. Bitcoin is a good investment, but the risk appetite or the quantum of risk somebody can withstand is on individual. So on a personal note, Mohammed, I can answer you one to one. I don't want to put it on a forum because it'll be very narrow in terms of then I become somebody who is an advisor. I'm not an advisor. I don't have an advisor role here.
No problem, sir. So second question, Ajmal has asked, sir, can you explain how to invest in compound investment?
Okay. See, compound, there is nothing called compound investment. Is that like, see, compounding is putting it across for a longer period of time. And before that, I have missed one very important point which has to be covered. See, you have to look for an investment which is more than your inflation. For example, if the average inflation on an year-on-year basis is 5%, and if you put it on an investment which earns less than 5%, then you are devaluing your money. I think everybody will appreciate that. See, for example, I'll put you through with an example. You have 100 rupees in your hand, you invest in X and Y or in bank. The rate of interest, what you earn is 5%, your inflation is 6%, which means you are not meeting the expectation, right? If want to spend a money, if you want to buy something which is valued today as 100 rupees, tomorrow it's going to be 106 rupees. So for you to fulfill that requirement, if you are not earning 106 rupees, you are earning only 105 rupees, means you are devaluing your money, right? So you have to invest in something which is more than your inflation, correct? So power of compounding helps you to walk you through that. So if you invest, say for example, 100 rupees, same 100 rupees, and put it in investment in FD or an RD, which is earning 110 rupees tomorrow, and for 5 years, what will happen is the compounding effect will happen. See, today it will be 100 rupees. Next year it will be 110, and next to next year, year 2 would be 110 multiplied by 1.1, which is nothing but 10% interest, which comes to 121. And that 121 would compound to a 10% increment, right? So if you put it in Excel, it'll have a earning differential for next 5 years. So the earning which the return or the interest which you earned, which is 10 rupees, 11 rupees, and 21 rupees, will also get invested, and that will multiply your wealth or money. Right? Am I answering your question?
Yes, sir. So second question is one Mr. Gokul has asked, sir, I have a plan of doing CFA. Can you tell me its future scope and opportunities?
CFA is a good, again, that comes under career session. But CFA is a good career to be chosen, and though it is very expensive, but in India, CFA, which has got an organization in Hyderabad, is not been recognized by a lot many institutions. Institute of Chartered Accountant or Institute of Cost Accountant doesn't recognize CFA, but if you do it in the US, it will be very useful. Not here, in terms of the scope. Okay, Sriram. Okay, again, coming to very specific product, but let me put it through. There is no good and bad about investment. RD earns little money, SIP earns little money, right? So you can't put all eggs in one basket. You need to spread it across a certain portion of money. It is all again depends upon your risk appetite. You can put it certain amount of money in RD. You can put it in some amount of money in SIP. SIP again, you have to put it at least in a period of say 5 to 10 years. It's a magic on its own, and the compounding happens in SIP. But again, you should never choose a wrong SIP. You need to have a correct advisor who is a consultant who is very knowledgeable. I didn't see the trickiest part is identifying a good consultant, right? So you need not research on what is a good plan or what is not a good plan. He will tell you what is a good plan. So your partner should be identifying a good reputed consultant for you who can say there can be a bad mutual fund which will seriously devalue your money. There can be a very good mutual fund which you put it on SIP, you can earn huge money. But it all depends upon your risk appetite and choosing the correct consultant. And the trickiest part is choosing a right consultant. But you can also read a lot of articles on the mutual fund. You have lot of content, lot of material on each and every mutual fund has got what is in the market. You can understand their 5 years trend or 10 years trend. But for me, being very conservative, don't put it on a mutual fund on an SIP or an ad hoc basis, which is new. Have a track record of at least 5 to 10 years. Look their performance, then put it across. And then again, when you talk about mutual fund, the most important role is of the fund manager. So the fund manager has to be extraordinary. The asset management company, it can be HDFC, it can be ICSA. You have a lot of asset management company. They should be good. So choosing a right consultant, choosing a right plan, choosing a right mutual fund, and choosing the correct fund manager and the asset management company is very important.
One more student has texted me privately because he's left the meeting. So he was just asking me, sir, which is the best option to invest? Either in IPOs or in equity. What is the difference, sir?
Okay, see, both are same. If you invest in IPOs, it's called primary market. Okay, so means you are going to put the money much before it is traded in the stock exchange floor. That's called primary market. If you invest in equity, I think he is talking about the secondary market. That's where the trading happens. Even the IPO shares would be traded, but you're going to invest directly on the shares and you're going to pay the company. But in case of secondary market, there's nothing but there are shares which has been traded in the market. You're going to buy it from the stock exchange. That's the difference, right? And again, it is left to the individuals. You can have a wonderful IPO, right? When it was being floated, it will be quite high. And within few years, you find the shares to be very at a very low price, right? So it's got huge dependency on the company's performance. You have a lot of its and buts on that. And similarly, in terms of the secondary market, it's the huge factors, there are a lot of factors which comes into, which is the economy, which is the nation, politics, the strength of the company. But my personal advice is we have to identify good companies, good uh, corporates, where it has got a very good track record, where the money which you invest would be safe. So you need to go by the track record and then put in money which is safe and which will grow. So there is a risk involved when you put it in shares, but if the company is stable, if the management is stable, if they have a good reputation, if they have the correct methodology to run the company, then again, I'll put it on an industrialist than a businessman. Businessman will fly off. So you need to put it on a company who's got an objective of becoming an industrialist, not a businessman.
Fine, sir. So
Okay.
next question
Ramakrishna.
yes.
During the pandemic period, is there any? Obviously, there is an impact on not just for freshers. There is an impact on financial opportunities, and today people who are properly planned, who had liability at a lower level, and either it is a personal liability or an organizational liability, are people who are prosperous today, which means they have done the financial planning properly. People who are little high in terms of the spending of money, there is no proper planning, they spend money for anything they like, are in difficult situations. So there is and people who had money, means who were very prudent in terms of their spending, it is a wonderful opportunity for them to invest the right way. So there are plus and minus about it, and I go by only one thing, is that somebody who is prudent, who's got the proper planning. You need not to be brilliant, you need not to be extraordinary, you have to be very disciplined. So discipline here is very important. Financial discipline is much more important than smartness. So somebody who's got the financial discipline, forget about pandemic, would be able to survive at any point of time.
So next question is from Solomon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you so much for the sharing your knowledge. And what is the required income and the important income for a person for a living in your point of view?
See, again, it depends upon somebody. Somebody who see in Tamil they'll say "Asik alavella." Okay, so what is a bare minimum? What you require is you have to define. Whether somebody will say that bare minimum, I need a triple build-up apartment or a bungalow and 2-3 cars. So you have to earn for that. Okay, I'm not saying that is wrong. And what I'm saying is you have to define what you require, right? There is a thin line of definition between what is required and what is not required. So again, a prudent man has to decide his own things, and it is not wrong to have 2-3 cars at home, but whether you are able to maintain it, whether you have the capabilities to buy it, is very important. So if you don't have these, don't buy it and put into a difficult situation of creating liabilities for you. So better to avoid than suffer. Okay. Rahul, very good. Why gold ornament? It's a very long discussion, but I can put it in a very short statement. Okay, everybody would be heard about something called, say, making charges and wastage charges. Okay, and what you buy, the gold, which is the purest gold, is 91.9, if I am right. Okay, so you buy gold for 100 rupees, you're going to get it for only 91.9. There itself, there is a 9% or 8% decrease in terms of the money value. And your making charges and the wastage would be another 5-10%. So you're going to buy gold of 85 rupees when you spend 100 rupees. Okay, So ornament gold, and you tomorrow it's going to be that, like, no, you're not going to convert that into cash. You're going to buy some other thing, and when you go buy some other thing in replacement of the ornament which you have, again they'll be putting some wastage and the making charges. So it doesn't means every time there is a depreciation for your gold. Tomorrow it can be 150 rupees, the same gold which you buy it for 100 rupees, it can convert that to be 150. But again, when you value it, it's going to get reduced. He may say that it's going to be bought in the current market rate, but the wastages and the making charges would be there in that also. So it's going to be something where, for that you can simply put it in FD for those many years, and it will fetch more money than what you earn. And today, and I'm sorry to be very pessimistic. Today, keeping a gold is more riskier. It's going to be more riskier because with the current situation, I'm not saying them to be wrong. You will find increase in crime, because a lot of people who are unemployed, who needs money, they may indulge in crime. So protecting in the gold itself will take financial stress or health stress. So why we need to get into stress? And today locker maintenance cost is quite high. So you buy gold, you want to protect it, it's going to become more riskier, and you're going to strain a lot on that. Hope it answers the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kishore, what is in your view increase the price? Okay, it's more macroeconomics. See, again, in fact, if you carefully recap my point, the government of India should have gold, right? And India, on the other side, any government, any country, as a country, it should have gold. That's for foreign exchange reserve as well as for printing of notes. What is happening in India for last so many years is we buy gold at a retail requirement. Means household have gold. We don't have gold per se as a country, as an economy, or as a treasury in the government of India angle. So it is all individually owned. So that's not great. That's not good for the country. Venkat, we all know that HR and finance is very important to an organization, but in your point, all parts of the body are important, Venkat. There is no comparison between this department is great, that department is not great. Everybody has got their own role to play. Compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. No, it is the first wonder of the world if people properly understand that. Hemant, sorry if I'm not mistaken, are you from Gujarat?
No, sir, from Andhra.
Okay. No, but your nativity?
Andhra only.
Okay. No, you're talking in terms of bearish and bullish. Gujaratis are the most successful people in stock exchange. That's the reason I've asked. And somebody at your age talking this terminology is a great one. So, see, you read about theories of stock exchange. The stock exchange acts in its own way. There is no scientific or there is no theory which can support the behavior of stock exchange. Okay, there are huge factors. See, but even if there is a war, stock exchange can go up. Right. For reason being simple, you need somebody to buy, somebody to sell. Right. There has to be transaction. During war, it doesn't happen because people become a little afraid of putting their money in a stock exchange. So there is no transaction. That's the reason it gets in. So the stock exchange runs on sentiments of the investor. So no, there is no other logic behind it. Ramakrishna, I can answer you privately. It's more into a specific topic. Solomon also, you have to define what you need, and it goes with one saying that don't compare with somebody. So have your own target, then you need to work for it. Okay, on gold, I think I have answered. Trade finance is a separate topic. Here we are talking about investment, and trade finance has got its own scope. It's more into exports and imports, bill discounting and other things, and it's a wider area. Venkat, again, how long we should be planning? It should be minimum at least 5 to 10 years, but I don't stop with that. Longer you go, better you earn. Okay, any more questions?
I guess we have done with the questions, sir. So directly we'll just go into a rapid fire round, sir. After this rapid fire round, maybe we can
Okay.
close down because we have got a set of questions before the event starts. So we have got questions from our students.
Okay.
So one of the questions which you have got is from the presentation we have got, but we have got some 5 to 10 questions which you got before the presentation. Whenever we said your profile, they are very eager to ask you many questions. So
not at all.
I told them not to ask the same question again in the chat box, so they have not asked it.
No issues.
How is CMA CGM in this quarantine and lockdown going on?
See, forget about CMA CGM. Any organization has got an impact because what a business means, it runs on transactions, right? You need buyer, you need seller. So you have impact. See, CMA CGM or any organization is not a standalone organization. It depends upon the economy, it depends upon the country, it depends upon the location, it depends upon the customer, it depends upon the vendor. So today we are all talking about the global economy. Any impact, CMA CGM as a global leader in shipping, when it got presence in more than 200 countries, it actually the impact is there in the pandemic. So, like any other business, it has got impact. But on the positive side, we are coping up. The organization per se is positive about the growth aspect.
So, second question is, how is logistics industry doing? Do you have any scope after this COVID-19?
Obviously, see, you can't turn everything to an E mode or today world is much wide open. And I was somebody who was favoring localism, means, see, what is more dangerous, which has happened, the damage has already happened. It's called globalization. For simple reason, because what a man needs is food, shelter, and food, shelter. What is the other thing? Clothing. Okay, so all these three things is closely associated with your weather condition locally, and you violate it, you may get into liability, you may get into health problem, you may get into other sort of problem. But today we have crossed those stages, and localization is something which cannot happen. And only probably some quantum of localization can happen. Means you produce, eat, or use what is available in a radius of 10 kilometers or 50 kilometers. So probably a combination, probably a greater percentage of localization can happen. But in terms of trade and other practice, you may find people selling goods from different parts of the world. So when people sell by across the globe, obviously there has to be a logistics engagement, and I don't see any danger, or I don't see any limitations in terms of logistics. But what will happen is it will have a correction. It will have a better maturity in terms of logistics. It is going to grow.
Okay, sir. How to join NCMA CGM? What is the procedure, sir?
First, they need to finish their graduation or the MBA and apply upon the opportunities. Our organization is big, it's huge one. And what I deal with, it is hardly some percentage of their transaction. I handle a very small portion of their business. Okay. And that's the answer for it.
Fine, sir. Fine. Sir, what is financial leadership according to you?
See, financial leadership is see again. I'm sorry, I have missed one very important point. I have touched upon that point, but that will answer this question. See, being prudent is different from being miser. Right? Everybody understands what does a miser mean. Miser means who doesn't spend money. I'm not recommending that. You have to spend money where it is required. You can't keep it with you, right? So what you need to be careful in terms of spending money. You need to, as I think my presentation would have a differentiation of three things. One is you have to be prudent. You have to understand what you require, what are the essentials, and what is you don't require. So a financial leader has to understand this behavioral aspect. If he keeps saying that I'll not spend money, that is not correct. If he keeps spending money which is not required, that is also not correct. So being prudent is very important, and that calls for not just for becoming a financial leader, but for any leader. Prudence, application of prudence and being proactive is very important to become a leader.
Yes, sir. So, next question is, sir, I have heard that only salespeople can reach the CEO or a very bigger level. Most of the CEOs are from sales background. But how about finance background, sir? Can they become a CEO?
See, anybody can become a CEO. It doesn't limit. Okay. But what has happened or what is happening is, like including me, the highest ambition a finance person would have is to become a CFO. Okay. So the conversion doesn't happen. But there are companies, I think Gopinath, who was TCS CFO, has become a CEO of this company now. Okay. So it is all up to the individual. How the bigger they dream, the bigger they become. It is not impossible, but it requires a lot of skills to become a CEO. And the salesperson has got edge over it because in the industry, sales are being regarded as the god of the company because they get money, right? They generate income. But whereas in the case of the financial department or finance person, he doesn't generate income, but he safeguards, he becomes a protector of the money which has been earned. So there is a bit of conservatism here, and the thought of a CFO would be to protect money, not to generate money. So that's the reason you find a lot of people from sales becoming CEO.
What happens to our 5 trillion roadmap for our country? Is it possible, sir?
See, that's a target, and any objective or any target, it is a floating one, right? When India is able to achieve 1 trillion or 2 trillion, obviously it will be able to achieve 5 trillion, right? Again, the question is when and how. And how is moment of time, and when is something which depends upon a lot of factors, internal factors, external factors, government's policy, people's mind. Again, the government alone cannot stand alone and then rise the economy to 5 trillion. It is we as a citizens of this particular country has to work for that goal. And I strongly believe it will definitely happen. And I also believe that rather than looking at individuals, we need to look as a nation. And obviously, when you have that kind of feeling, it will definitely happen. If you talk, if you think, if you act only as an individual, it doesn't happen. And that's the reason I strongly believe that investment in gold is not a wise choice, because probably you become richer, but not the nation. You're making the nation poor, and at some point of time, it will hit you very badly.
Thank you so much, sir. I guess few questions which you have already addressed.
Mhm.
I guess we are done with all the questions under the rapid fire round. And one personal question from my side, sir. I like
Mhm.
a few words about ISSM and leadership lab which we are conducting.
Okay, see, again, it's a wonderful opportunity, both sides. I'm not talking just for the student, but for me. And interacting with students, interacting with young people keeps you young. So, this opportunity, a lab, focuses on people's growth, people's enhancement of knowledge, and it is both ways. So somebody who is a presenter, I think there were a lot of leaders who have come and spoken about different topics. If you carefully see, they would be interested in these kind of session is not just to share knowledge which they have, also learn things. When there is a mutual learning, I think there is a sign of prosperity. That's where people grow as an individual and collectively grow as an organization. So I think using time rightfully is something which is very important, and that's been done here. And congratulations for this brilliant idea of having these kind of sessions.
Thank you so much, sir. And how are the students' questions and how are the students?
Wonderful. In fact, I was taken back. See, I've been having these kind of sessions, even for corporate, even for people who are more matured in terms of the career background. There were quite a few surprises for me, and the level of understanding on the subject is very good, and the questions were thought provoking. And to name a few, I was astonished by the answer called tangible asset and intangible earning. A wonderful question. And I think Hemant was talking about being bearish and being other things. And the next, there were a lot of things to quote. Wonderful set of people. I think this knowledge lab also enhances and helped and gave an opportunity for them to enhance their wealth.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, from your end also, we have got beautiful answers from your end. The knowledge which you have shared today is really immense, and really, we also enjoyed this leadership lab a lot. And definitely, we would like to have your session one day in our campus when this pandemic gets over.
Definitely, definitely.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. And we'd like to have your support in terms of guiding your students for the next level of building our leadership. Thank you so much for the day, and thank you so much
Yeah.
for even in
Thank
your
you.
Sundays. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you, the management and students.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you so much.